The Patitashaha, the one without any desire, the one who is free of desires. Free of desires, how can one be? Because one is free of being a desiring person. How is one free of being a desiring person? One is free of being desiring a desiring person because everything that one desires, one gets as soon as one gains this knowledge. What is it that one wants? To be forever, to be happy, forever happy. That's all that one wants. And that immediately is gained with the help of this knowledge. So there is really not a desire that is going out all the time. There is no pining, there is no longing left. So therefore, patitashaha paryatati. Nice little alliteration there. And even above, mayikam eveti manasi manvanaha paryatati patitashaha. And then that alliteration continues. Alankara. Pragalita mada manasa matsaraha kopi. So Pragalita means the one for whom it has melted what? Pride. Pride and conceit. Mada and mana mana is, mada is pride, mana is conceit. And then matsara. Matsara means there is a lot of jealousy and envy. So the person is free of all these things because all these things are not there, because the person has understood that there is no reason to feel envious because I have everything that I want. There is no reason to feel angry because there is no desire that is left unfulfilled. There is no reason to feel sad because I am the epitome of happiness. So this is how the person moves around. And then I saved the 11th verse for now, for a little later, because it's got an interesting concept there. There it says, Jani viparita kramatah buddhya pravilapya panchabhutani parishishtam atmatattvam pashyanna aste munihi shantah. Very beautiful. So there is a krama. There is a krama in the projection of the universe. Tasmadva etasmad atmana akashas sambhutah akashad vayuhu vayuragnihi agnerapah adhyah prithivī prithivya oshadhayah oshadhibhyonnam annat purushah. Like this there is a krama. And Sava Esha Purusho Narasamayah. This is a krama. Krama means there is a kind of an order in the universe. There is an order in the creation. There is an order in the projection of the universe. Tasmat, from that Brahman, which is what? Etasmat, this Atma. From that Brahman, which is nothing but this Atma. What is that? Which is nothing but this Atma. From that Brahman, which is nothing but this Atma. What happens? This is the whole universe has come in this particular way. Akasha Sambhutah, from space. Space is the subtlest element because it is cognizable by only one sense organ, which is the ear. Akashad Vayuhu. Vayu is a little more objectifiable with two sense organs. One is, of course, the ear, and the other is the sense of touch. Like if you go like this in the atmosphere, you feel the air. So Akashad Vayuhu Vayoho Agnihi. And from there fire came, and that fire is little more gross, available to three sense organs, available to be objectified by three sense organs, namely the sight and the touch, of course, and the hearing. Like this we can see how each one is becoming more and more gross. And then Vayor Agnihi Agner Apaha. Apaha, waters. Water, you also have to add the other four plus taste. Oh, but it is tasteless. That is its taste. That is its unique thing. That is indeed its taste. Then then we have Adbhyaha Prithvi, finally Prithvi, the five element, the Prithvi, and Prithivya Oshadhayaha. And from the earth we have plants, and from the plants we have food, and that from this food that is eaten, we have these bodies. This is the whole krama. So here it is not Janikrama. Janikrama means the krama of the universe. Jani means the universe here. So that which is giving birth. So Janikramataha. So if we say, means in accordance to the manifestation. But here we say Jani Viprita Kramataha Buddhya. Here what is happening is Jani Viprita Kramaha. Means you imagine or visualize yourself as though Pralaya is happening where? Right now. Right now it is happening. Pralaya means dissolution. So you do a mental exercise of dissolution so that you don't get too addicted to anything in the universe. And the mental visualization of dissolution takes the viparita krama, takes the opposite way in which the universe was projected. So in the projected universe, the space came first, and then the Purusha, Annat Purusha, the body of the human being came last. But in the Viparita Krama, you will take the body of the human being first, and then from there something else, and something else, and something else. This is how you would proceed. And so this is basically what is called Jani Viparita Kramaha. And we see this in movies also sometimes. Like they want to undo something, or one of the characters is very unhappy with the state of the relationship or with the state of the family life or whatever it is, and wants to undo and go back to a certain point in time because he knows that probably it's his fault and he must have done something or said something because of which this has happened. And so what will the person, in the movies we see that, the person kind of goes in reverse. So the whole footage goes in reverse. So like that. It's kind of a moonwalking practice. So you keep moving forward, but actually you're going back. Something like that. The whole universe is made into a visual resolution. You see the resolution of the universe in the Viparita Krama. So first we saw how Akasha came from this Brahman as though, and then all the way up to Purusha, this body, mind, sense complex. But then when we do the Viparita Krama, we start with the body, mind, sense complex and end up in Akasha. And Pravilapya, having resolved in his mind, her mind, the Panchabhutani, the Pancha Mahabhutas, the five elements, are also withdrawn. So anyway, the withdrawn means cognitively withdrawn. Cognitively withdrawn. So it's not that it's really withdrawn, it's cognitively withdrawn. And then cognitively withdrawn means it's very interesting, means it will continue to be there even after Atmavidyananda because it is Ishvara's creation. So it will not go away, but you are not affected by it. That is the idea. So then when you resolve everything unto you, what is left? You, you who is are you are the one who is left. You are the one who is left. No one else is left. When you wrap up everything, what is left is you, and that is a worshipful Atma Tattva. That is what we want to know. That is what we want to be. That is what sometimes, even though it makes no sense, we want to see. So, buddhya pravilapya parishishta atma tattvam pashyan munihi shantaha aste. Shantaha means the tranquil sage. The tranquil sage remains calmly after doing this imagination of recalling the universe in the reverse order from which it was created, and then from there and from there that stranger who was not even there as a muni, suddenly appears as a Muni. Why? Because now has Atmajnanam. And so because of that, the whole universe is withdrawn and Brahman is understood as the only reality. Very, very nice. So the contemplative stage rests, sage rests and wanders about. And then then there is one more verse I wanted to see. There is no, uh, let's see, Tvamaham Abhimanahinaha. So the one who is devoid of Abhimana means any kind of a identification. Tvam, you, not I, and then I, aham. So there is that identification, and for the one who has this identification, life is miserable. Why is life miserable? Because if you have this particular identification, you cannot be that object. You cannot be this, you cannot be that. You are confined. You have three stages of three kinds of limitations: object wise limitation, subject wise limitation, and then what else? Otherwise also limitation. So object, subject, and then subject wise one is limited, and then because I'm confined to this body, and then I object wise limitation means I am confined only to this body, I can't go anywhere else. Time wise limitation, the body comes with a ticking clock as soon as it's born in the form of the timekeeper, Udana Vayu. And then so that is a problem. And then this is the so this way I have time wise and space wise limitations also. And so if all these limitations are there, then that means I'm not able to enjoy my nature. Therefore, the Jnani says, I tvam aham abhimana hinaha. There is no identification with this or that. And therefore, the Jnani's life is free of the effects of Maya. Maya only attacks if you believe in this. And if you say, I don't, I don't know who you are. What is this Maya? I am not under your spell at all. And you act confident and you are not under the spell of Maya, then what happens? Then there is great Shanti. And so this is what is there from 11 to 15. So we have seen one thing. We have seen how the Jnani sees the Jagat and relates to the Jagat. And then there is part B also here. What is Maya? This is a very important question. What on earth is Maya? Not coming under the spell of Maya and avoiding Maya. Not all these things we read. But what is this Maya after all? Maya from the standpoint of the Jiva is ignorance, but from the standpoint of Ishvara becomes all knowledge and bestows Ishvara with the status of God and the status of the maker of the universe. And this is what Maya is. And she has two powers to conduct her thing in the universe. And what are those powers? Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. Some people say avarana. Don't do that, okay? Yeah, it is avarna. Avarna means to cover completely. Vikshepa Shakti means that, the power to project, the power to conceal, the power to project. What does she conceal? She conceals your own nature from you. That is the concealing. And then what about the power to project? What does she project? She, on the global scale, she projects all the things that Ishvara asks her to project. Let's have a new species. Yes, let us project something else. Okay, I'll work out the details and then it will be there tomorrow. So she's constantly projecting things and aided by Ishvara. And then here, on the Jiva's side, the only thing she is manifest as is a dull ache. Oh, I don't feel so good. I don't have what I want. I lack this, I lack that. So if I lack too many things, my life becomes lackluster. and this is who I am. I just don't like this and I don't like that. I'm a bunch of complaints. I'm bored. I'm boring. This is what it is. And if Maya is not known, this is exactly what happens. One thinks of oneself as all these, coming under the spell of this Avarana Shakti. If Maya is not properly understood, one comes under the spell. We're having a lot of, that Avarana means that it covers one from the truth of oneself. And because it covers one from the truth of oneself, then the person has a lot of projections which are not true. The person has projections which are totally baseless. This person doesn't like me. Then you go and ask the person, the person says, "Oh, I'm surprised. I never said anything like that. I don't know why you got this idea." So all this subjectivity is due to Maya alone. And though that is what we talked about in the earlier session, it's a projection, and that projection has to be withdrawn. And the yogi is the one of self-knowledge has withdrawn the projections with the help of the teachings, with the grace of the Guru, that those projections are withdrawn. That's why the 17th, the 12th verse says, Atmani kinchin maya kinchin kinchit maya tatkaryam va asti vastutah vimale atmani. In this Atma that is free of all longing, free of papa, free of punya, nothing exists there of connected to Maya. Iti nishchayavan, ascertaining, the one who ascertains like this, one who comes to this definitive conclusion, Hrishyati, finally is able to rejoice. Hrishyati, rejoices. Rejoices what? Hrishyati ananda nirbharaha yogi. Nirbharaha means relying only on the ananda connected to the self. And as long as one is looking for Ananda outside and pursuing that Ananda, a remnant of that Ananda, like a little dust bunny, one is pursuing that Ananda in the Jagat, then the Atmananda will not be discovered, will not come out. Because one is settling for small Ananda through the encounters with various things in the universe. And so here the person is Atmananda Lahari. He is just a wave of Ananda, an endless wave of Ananda. And why? Because they have defeated Maya. Defeated Maya means they are no longer under the spell of Avarna Shakti. Oh, what about Vikshepa Shakti? Vikshepa Shakti individually is withdrawn. At the level of the individual, it is withdrawn. But at the level of the collective, it cannot be withdrawn because it is Ishvara's Vikshepa, Ishvara's projection. Your own projection, if you withdraw, then you are able to live in Ishvara's projection happily. That is why we are able to see the Jnanis walk here, walk there without any compunctions and engage in the world without having any ill effects like stress, etc. Stress or longing. So this is the portion which talks about the Jnani's connection to the Jagat. And it's not the only time. Later on also we will come back to this section, but here the last few verses have talked about it. And then that is why I talked about that here, because there seems to be a particular theme of this section. So connected with the Jagat is the question, how does the Jnani interact with other people? We are also curious about that. How does the Jnani interact with other people? So here it says, Tvam aham abhimana hinaha modita nana janacharaha. So the one who is hinaha means devoid of I-ness and my-ness and you-ness and separateness. There is no separation here. And so therefore, the one who is delighted. Modita means delighted. Delighted by what? Nana jana, jana, people. Delighted by the people. Nana Janaihi, delighted, Moditah. So, Nana, or you can take it as Nana Jananam Achareihi. So, he or she is delighted by the goings on. Achara means the day-to-day interaction of the various people. Why? Because at this level, there is no engagement. You don't want anything from anybody. So you don't have a interest in the outcome. You don't want the outcome to be a certain way. You're not in competition with anybody. So you just sit and watch. Like go to the airport and you have a couple of hours before you board. So you're at the gate early. What do you do sitting there? You just watch people. Oh, this one is chewing gum. How interesting. That one is keeping on shaking his leg. Oh, this one is a harried mother. Poor thing. The children are not listening to her and they're crawling all over the carpet. Like that, you don't need television. You don't need anything. The people watching becomes very, very fruitful and you can happily spend the couple of hours people watching before you get on the plane. And so here, the Jnani becomes a people watcher, even though they are not at the airport, they are not at the train station, but then they are just watching people in general wherever they are. They have become people watchers. And what kind of people watchers? Not critical people watchers. Oh, this person is an idiot. That person, bumped against me. And I'm sure on purpose. No, not that kind of a complaining people watcher. The one who is delighted by the act of people watching. People watching means it's like watching a movie. It's like sitting in the airport for 3 hours means binging on Netflix from the Jnani standpoint. So the Jnani is as good as binging on Netflix. Watching each person is like a channel, a reality show. And so the Jnani is happily doing this and watching people modita. Because there is nothing she wants. They don't want anything from anybody. They don't want anybody to give up anything. They don't want to go and say, how can you do this? This is my job. This is my action. You have taken over. There's nothing to take over. And everybody acts in a certain way and they just watch with delight because they know that this is not the ultimate reality. This is a transactional empirical reality in which all the activities are taking place, no doubt, but I am not part of it. So when the people watch, perhaps they see a version of themselves also going around and with a begging bowl, etc., etc. That also they are able to see objectively. So this is how they spend their time. And then viharati. Viharati means they walk around, they roam. How? Balavat ekaha. Ekaha means one, someone. Actually, he is referring to himself, but he is referring to himself like, kaschit ekaha, like that. So that he does not want to draw attention to himself as an enlightened being. Because if you are enlightened, you will not say, I am enlightened. That's why. And so, viharati roams around. How? Balavat ekaha, like a child. Vimala sukhambo nidhau magnaha. Immersed. Magnaha, immersed. Immersed in what? Immersed in the clear waters of happiness. Immersed in the clear waters of clear lake, in the placid lake of Ananda, immersed in that, then the person walks around like a child. Not that one is childish. In fact, this what's that? This discussion takes place in the Brahma Sutras. And what is taking place in the Brahma Sutras? The discussion that how should the Jnani walk and talk? And the Shastra says that the Jnani is childlike. Does that mean the Jnani will start needing diapers soon? That's not the idea. It's not childish, it is childlike. A demeanor that is innocent and a demeanor that is very, very present, spontaneous. That is what the Jnani's responses to the situation are, just from the moment. Because the Jnani is the one who has become wedded to the moment, and the Jnani just is in the moment at any moment. So there is not any kind of back thinking. There is not any kind of a connect, this, oh, if I do this, then this will happen. There is no cause, connection, consequence, that kind of a chain. And even though you had travelers with you, somewhere you went and came back, doesn't matter. You can still lose that chain. And so therefore, the one is unaffected by Maya, therefore. Because when that subjectivity goes, then all the things go. And then how does the Jnani walk around? Walks around like a child. Not wanting, if you look at the child, a happy child, let us say, a child that has not been abused or neglected and is well fed, after that you look at the child doesn't want anything. It stops crying, it doesn't want to be picked up, it is happily lying somewhere in its crib or a cradle, and it is fine. It's no problem, it doesn't even need to be entertained. So like a child which is fulfilled, and like a child that does not need anything, and this person, ekaha balavat, like a child, sukham bodhi, sukhambhu nidhau, magnaha, immersed in the ocean of ananda. And so this child metaphor is very important because it comes everywhere. It is there as a lakshana of the Jnani. So then the child metaphor is taken to another level in verse number 15. Avadhuta karma jalaha jadabadhirandha upamaha kopi atma ramah yatirat yatirat atavi koneshu atannaste. So avadhuta karma jalaha, the one who has cast off, thrown off, has been cleansed off of all karma. No karma at all is there. No karma is there. The one who has cast off all karma. How can you take off all karma? In the wake of the knowledge, when you wake up, it is like waking up from a bad dream. No more karma. You can just sing this chant. No more karma. No more karma. Why? Because the karma is a model. It is not absolute. It is a model for the people who are trapped in samsara, to give them, to channel them to a direction. And a direction of prayer, a direction of learning Vedanta. That is where they are channeled to. And so therefore, this verse is talking about that the karma doesn't exist. How is that? Karma doesn't exist because when one wakes up to the truth of oneself, then all the things that were accumulated in the dream do not have any value. That's why you cannot make a down payment for a house with a dream lottery ticket. You cannot do that. You cannot say, don't worry, I'll pay you. Here is the winning lottery ticket. Mega millions. I have won. No such thing happens. No such thing at all. And so this is this is exactly how the karma is. So the karma is operational as long as I think I am a karta. As long as I am convinced that I am a karta and I am the doer and I am the mover and shaker of everything, then karma continues. Because then that karta feeling, the identification I am the karta, resolves into I am the bhokta. I was first the doer. Now I am done in by other people's doing. So why are you done in? What did they do? They told me not to be the doer. And so I got angry. And then I was done by their doings. And so like this, one suffers as a result of karma. And because there is a relentless onslaught of karma coming, difficult karma, the more difficult karma, more difficult, difficult karma. And then is there anything good? A little bit of good karma. This is how it is. And so this is the way in which the Avadhuta, the great ascetic, shakes off the karma jala, shakes off the snares of karma that bind by saying, oops, doesn't apply to me. I don't know. And so there is no karma, there are no taxes to pay, there are no dues. Everything is just simple, simplifies the life. And then atavi koneshu atan aste. So the person is roams around in the corner of the forest. Keeps on roaming around and keeps on doing that. And then this is the great ascetic who has freed oneself from the shackles of karma. And even though they have freed oneself from the shackles of karma, they do not want to be in the position of trying to be friends with others or anything. They want to just be by themselves. And so therefore, they continue to just roam around in the forest, just assimilating this knowledge, just enjoying this knowledge. They just roam around in the forest, and then that is how one lives the life. And the next verse is also about karma, verse number 16, because it talks about dridhopa gudaha shantya shanta samastanya vedana vedanodaraha. So this is another verse that talks about the karma. What does it say? It says it doesn't talk about karma per se, but it talks about the yogi here who is free of karma. So having become free of karma, what does the knower of Brahman do? The knower of Brahman, first of all, is gudha, means does not advertise it to the whole world. Like that Eureka, he said. Archimedes, because he had discovered the law of buoyancy and he couldn't contain himself. And here, the Jnani also likewise does not contain oneself and does not need to, does not need to shout out like this at all, because it is that inner fullness, not needing to make a claim, not needing to come out and project something. It is an inside job. Therefore, upagudha. And then shanta samasta anya vedana udara. And so the person is firmly established in peace and contented, not interested in knowing other people's business, serene, unruffled by other people's views of them. And this is the person of the Upanishad who is eulogized. And this is the Jnani. And so what does the Jnani do? Ramate rasagnyah ekah ramye swananda paryanke. In fact, all that metaphor of the mattress did not go in waste, because now that the mattress is ready, now the sage is going to lie down on the bed of Swananda. On the bed of Swananda, the sage is lying down and alone, totally hidden, not advertising anything to anybody, and full of joy, really joyous, and free from the desire for any other thing or want in the universe. This is how the yogi lives, and how the yogi lives in the world. The next one says, Unmulita Vishayarihi Svikrita Vairagya Sarvasvaha Svatmananda Mahimni Swarajye Asmin Virajate Yatirat. Yatirat means the king of the yatis, the king of the sages, the king of the ascetics, What does he, she do? What do they do? Virajate, abides. Virajate simply abides. Where? Where does the person of knowledge go? Colorado or a beach town? Where? Svatmani. Swem mahimni virajate. Virajate means is firmly established in that peace and not really anywhere else. And then because of that peace, where is that peace? That peace is because the person is unmulita vishayarihi, the one who has taken down all the inimical, all the penchant for having inimical vishayas, or the sense objects, has uprooted the enemy in the form of various addictions and the objects of the senses, is not a slave to the object of the senses. And then what? And then is has acquired great wealth. What is the wealth of Vairagya? The wealth of giving up is the wealth. The Jnani has acquired the great wealth of giving up everything, and this non-involvement reigns supreme in the kingdom, and because of this as well, one is in the form of this glory and reveling in one's own glory. We heard that, and then so that is the 17th one. And then the 18th one also talks about how the world is a crazy place, but never, ever, ever, even though it's a crazy place, the world does not surprise the Jnani. There is no surprise, no element of surprise. Savitari api shitaha. And then savitari api shitaruchau chandre tikshne api aghah vanhi agnau. Maikam idam iti janan jivan muktah na vismayi bhavati. Now suppose the sun suddenly becomes, where we have a name for it, blue dwarf. Blue dwarf means incapable of emitting as much light, on its way to dying. So the blue dwarf are there. There are certain blue planets who are orbiting the blue dwarfs, because at some point that was a viable solar system many millions of years ago perhaps, and now that sun has become a blue dwarf, cannot sustain life. So if supposing somebody found out, oh, so and so is a blue dwarf, then immediately one would feel very scared, very unhappy. How to treat this? It's a new syndrome. We don't know how to treat this. We don't know what to do. And so similarly, Saviti, he says that even if the sun were to turn cold, becomes a blue dwarf, and then what? Chandre tikshne api, and the moon were to become scorchingly hot. Chandre tikshne api means if the moon were to become scorchingly hot and if the sun were to become cool, then and then adho vahati agnau. Adho vahati agnau. And in the event of the fire flowing downwards rather than upwards, like you have an arati flame and you are going to do arati, and then what? The fire started to go downwards. It doesn't become an arati. So this is what it is. The fire always moves upwards, and then heat moves upwards, and then all these things are there. And then here the sun is cold, the moon is hot, and the fire is blowing downwards. Na vismayi bhavati jivan muktaha. The person of knowledge does not become agitated, does not become surprised. Why? Maikam idam iti janan. Knowing that this is a product of Maya, the person is not affected at all. Not in the least bit affected. Even if the sun, let the sun become cool, let the moon become scorchy, let the fire burn downwards. The Jivan Mukta says, okay, this is all temporary. I'm not worried about this. This is how the verse number 18 ends. And then more we'll see next time. I want to give some space to the questions after the closing prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Yeah, I didn't kindly display the shlokas on the screen. I didn't display because I was taking it very, very fast and jumping a bit here and there. But I can share it next time, not a problem. So, I can send the attachment through email because in this webinar, if I just put it in the chat pod, it doesn't go. So, please send me your email and I will send this particular PDF that you want. Okay.